My name's Simon, and each year I pick a different theme for my builds. So in the past I've done science fiction with James Cameron's Avatar, or fantasy with Terry Pratchett's Discworld series. Last year I did the 75th anniversary of D-Day, and this year I've picked the 80th, which is a bit of a cheat, anniversary of the other side of the story, Dunkirk. So what we've got to see here, apart from the jacket obviously, which is original, is the town of Dunkirk. It's part of a three-part build. The other two videos will be uploaded later. Ignore the cat, please. Here we see the town of Dunkirk with the chaos that came of the withdrawal and retreat from the British and French forces. Bit of Belgian, bit of Holland, Dutch troops fighting as well. And here we can see a typical street inside there and the seafront with the refugees trying to evacuate the town while the British and the French troops set up defensive lines. Racing along the front we have a Junkers Ju-87 dive bomber strafing the aid station, as well as vast numbers of abandoned vehicles and equipment, while some troops try and hold the line. Hope you enjoy the models, and at this very strange time that we're in, this is unfortunately as good as we can get, but hopefully at some point in the future we can all get back to a real LEGO show and people come and introduce themselves, and we can have a chat about the models. Thanks very much for viewing. Bye. Right, this is the second part of my display. As you can see, we've moved from the town into the beaches, so we can see the lines of the British soldiers waiting to be evacuated, with the men on the east mole as well as the beaches themselves. As you can see, some of the men are even up to their necks in the water waiting for their rides. What we've also got going off here is an ME-109 shooting up the beaches and the troops diving for cover, and at the same time we have a lone Spitfire pilot coming in to take him out. One of the criticisms that was labelled on the RAF was that they weren't supporting the troops on the ground. Generally this was because most of the dogfights took place away from the beaches, but here we're showing a bit of poetic licence. So what we've also got here is a British mechanic breaking a brain carrier. One of the common practices was to just set the engine running, take out the drain plug on the engine sump and let the engine seize up. All these things were done to try and stop the Germans getting as much of the British equipment as they could, but most of it still was fixed and wound up on the Russian front. Anyway, that's the second part. I'll show you the third part shortly. This is part 3 of my display. Here we can see a destroyer being loaded with the help of the little ships. Cabin cruiser helping the infantry onto the ship, along with the navy then issuing them life jackets and them spreading themselves around ship. Across to the left we can see the east mole and the line of infantry waiting for evacuation from this. This was used largely by smaller ships, as the destroyers weren't able to get in close enough due to wrecks and other things. You can also see a lifeboat going back for its next load. Interesting fact that many people don't realise about Dunkirk was that 41 British lifeboats went out very early on to try and help evacuate the troops. Here we can also see a rowing boat being used to get as many of the guys onto the ships as could be, and an abandoned rowing boat because who wants to paddle it back to shore. Also we have a pair of Spitfires continuing the fight, going to keep down the Messerschmitts and the dive bombers. this is the last of my displays. So I just show you my latest build as well. Who's this little guy over here? Not one of my designs, somebody else's. Instructions and parts lists are available on Rebrickable. Forgotten the guy's name who made it, but I just love the way the eyebrows change. And you can change his expression. I just love that. Bye.